Hey, what's going on, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. This is my second time filming this video. Just to give you guys the long version of it. Basically, I was using my new camera, and normally I film these deck techs on the floor, and the audio from the actual camera was very echoey and it did not sound good, and I was very unhappy with it, and I was like, I am not uploading this. So more of the story is I'm on my desk, which in the long run, even though I had to go through that painful experience of having to refilm it now, it'll work out in the long run because I'm actually sitting at my desk and normally sitting on the floor for like extended periods of time in a really awkward position because I have to be really low to the ground. It was not the best thing ever. So anyways, we're on my desk and I have my mic and the audio is like 7,000 times better. So yeah, this is my Alela deck tech and I'm really excited to be showing oh my god, I just spilled water. Okay, it's fine. I'm really excited to be filming this for you guys. Because I normally, as you guys know, don't film deck techs until I'm really happy with the way that the like deck functions. But I've only had this deck for about 3 months or so, and I really love this deck. It's very powerful, even though it's pretty not. It's like powerful, but it's very fair at the same time. You'll kind of see the theme of the deck as we kind of go into it, but let's just kind of hop into it. So first, let's start talking about lands. So I run pretty straightforward. I only run 5 swamps. Also, how stunning are these Ravnica Weekend lands? I love them. Sorry, y'all. I'm thinking that the viewfinder is right here and the camera is more this way, and I have to get used to that. So I run 5 swamps, and then I run 6 plains. And then I also run 6 islands. Sorry, I meant to say this before, but I run 35 lands total. You guys know that's my sweet spot. So, great. Let's first hop into talking about the specialty lands. I run 18 in the deck, and let's first start talking about these artifact lands. No, I do not have the black one. It's on my wish list. It's not very expensive. I just need to pick it up. I really like these because they do trigger off of Lila, which is really good, but they're also kind of dual purpose as a land, which is really strong. So I do really like these. I'm just showing these together. I normally go in alphabetical order. Oh, guys, and I'm so sorry, but the video will be listed in the down bar below as well, so you guys can check the deck tech out as well in the down bar if you want to see all these cards and stuff and see how much the deck is and like all that kind of stuff. It's around 400. Arcane Sanctum, of course. Bajuka Bog, this is kind of acting, I would say, as my 6th swamp, even though black is probably the least predominant color in the deck. Also is in Howard Lion Signature, stunning. I run this card in every one of my black decks. It's amazing. I have Buried Ruin. I really like this card. Command Tower, of course. Also Ryan Yi Signature. Isn't that stunning? Oh my god. Is it like a weird thing to like be really into, because I just feel like artist signatures, you know? Next, I have 2 of the Buddy lands. I don't have the 3rd. I just don't own the 3rd. I don't even remember what the name of it. Oh wait, hold up. Did they release the full set of Buddy lands? Yes, they did. I just don't have the other one, but yeah. Those cards are really good. I also am talking about these cards together. I have Terramorphic Expanse and Evolving Wilds, of course, because I love deck thinning. And I only have 2 of the fetch lands. I have Flooded Strand and Polluted Delta. I have these left over from Modern. I actually don't own. I always forget the name of the white-black one. No idea why. I just can't keep. I for some reason, I really struggle with like fetch lands and chocolate names. I like can't remember them for the life of me. I got my tea chilling next to me. My mug is really cute, but I don't think I can show you guys. It says Hay Rides, Pumpkins, and Apple Cider, which is really cute. Anyways, I don't own the other one, but yes, that's on my wish list, and yes, I do want it because, again, deck thinning, importante. But I do have all of my Shocklands, which is really awesome and really important. Of course, I have Reliquary Tower. Gotta have this card when I'm drawing 7,000 cards, you know. Gotta have it. And then the last card is Tainted Field. Really love this. Don't know if they released a cycle of these, but they totally should if they have not. So that's 35 lands. Now let's hop into Sorceries. I only run 7 Sorceries, and they're mainly board wipes. The first is Akramo's Vengeance. I do really enjoy this card. I've run this card for, honestly, just like a really long time, and I really loved it. I have Day of Judgment. Yep, pretty standard, destroys all creatures. I'm going to talk about these together because they're basically the same thing, Planner Cleansing and Hour of Revelation. Planner Cleansing is just basically 3 mana to do the same thing that Planner Cleansing is. You're pretty much going to have the City's Blessing. You're playing 4+ people in EDH, you're going to have the City's Blessing. It's not an issue. One of my favorite board wipes is Merciless Eviction. I love this card because you do get to pick something. So if you really want to keep your artifacts on board or anything like that, or you really want to keep creatures, you can pick something else where someone else's board is really threatening and you want it gone. Love Merciless Eviction. I have Ponder. Really, really love this card. And then I have Treasure Cruise. Also, I did want to say with the delving in this deck, you honestly don't really care about delving because you don't have a lot of recursion in this deck. So you delving doesn't really matter a whole lot. So I don't really mind this and running Dig Through Time as well. So that is that. Now let's talk about instants. So the first instant I have is Blue Sun Zenith. Of course, I do want the other card that's basically Blue Sun Zenith, but you gain lives. Sphinx's Revelation. That's on my wish list, but Pioneer has been just jacking up prices. So this and like apparently blue-white is like a thing, I guess, in Pioneer. I don't know. I don't care about any formats you guys know other than EDH. So like, let's be honest. But this card is really strong. Brainstorm, of course. Sorry if I'm a little bit off-centered. I have Cancel, which this is going to be replaced by Fairy Trickery because it's more on brand, let's be honest. More on brand. Then I have Crush Contraband. You guys know I love this card. I run this card in all of my white decks. Cyclonic Rift. I mean, need I say more? Dig Through Time is, of course, in here. Need to run this card. It's one of my favorites. Disdainful Stroke is one of my favorite counter spells, and I love this art. The green foil. Oh, stunning. Opt. Great card. Of course, I'm running Swords to Plowshare and Path to Exile. Gotta get rid of my opponent's things. Reality Shift. I've talked about this card in a ton of videos. Such a good budget card. Great, great card. And the last instant I run is Rewind. This is like my first time actually playing with this card, and I do like it. Also, let me know, sometimes I kind of go through really quickly, like I rush through, like, not rush, but like I go through them very quickly because I don't feel like I really need to talk about like why I'm running Path to Exile, you know what I mean? So let me know if you guys like that they're a little bit quicker, because I used to do mine and they used to be like 30 minutes, and I try to keep them 20 minutes or under, 25 minutes or under, because I don't want them to be super long. So let me know what you guys think, if you don't mind me kind of like going through it pretty quickly. Alright guys, sorry that we were cut off. I had to charge my battery. I only have one. Do I have one battery for this camera?
You only have one.
I only have one battery for this camera. Yeah, that's why. So I can't change it out. My other camera had 2 batteries anyways. So, cool. Let's move on to enchantments. I run 14 in the deck. So the first one I run is Anointed Procession. This card is so good. This is kind of like one of those enchantments that you play and people just really should get it off the table immediately. I feel like a lot of the other enchantments are like artifact slash enchantments are good, but like a lot of them, like you play like a mana acceleration. No one really wants to get that off the table kind of thing. You know what I mean? This is a card that people like really want to get off the table because you get double the tokens, which is really good. And also know it's under your control only, so this does not impact anyone else. Great card. The next card I run is Banishing Light. Now, under normal circumstances, I probably wouldn't run a card like this, but because it's an enchantment and it triggers off of Alela and its removal, yes, it is susceptible to getting removed off the table, because if they remove it, their creature comes back. Or, I'm sorry, it's anything. It's exile target island permanent, so, but you know, still, regardless, I do like this card, and now I'm really excited to show you guys this card because we have the beautiful Bitter Blossom that Pau got me for Christmas, which was really, really amazing. Really excited and really happy that I own this card. Yeah, so Bitter Blossom, so good. It does make black fairy tokens, so this does trigger off of the Liege. And then there was some other ability, I don't know, maybe it's a card I haven't gotten yet, where you pick a color and then oh no, I haven't gotten this card yet. I'm thinking of that mana acceleration, Heraldic Banner or like something like that, where it gets counters only for color types, but that wouldn't impact this because it's black. So I would probably name, because the tokens that you make with Lila are blue, I think. They are blue, correct. Yeah. So that wouldn't trigger with that one card, but that's okay. Anyways, this card is really, really good. The next card I run is Cathar's Crusade. This is definitely a win harder card, but honestly, I don't really care. You get a creature and then everything gets bigger. This is such a good card. Kind of a lot of mana, but honestly the curve in this deck is pretty low that I don't really mind it. The next card I have is Detention Sphere. I really like Detention Sphere for like token kind of things because you do it and then they pretty much have no reason to get rid of Detention Sphere off the table. But again, even if you cast a card like this and then they remove it, you still get the trigger off of Alela, which is truly what you really care about. So, good card. The next card we have is Favorable Winds. This is a really, really awesome card. Everything in the deck, I don't think there's any... there might be a couple of creatures that I run that do not have flying, but honestly, that's okay. You mainly do it for the tokens you get to give them +1/+1. Great card. I also really love this new art, hence why I got this one in foil. The next card we have is Ghostly Prison. This is, again, kind of one of those cards that I wouldn't typically run this type of card, like, in... not for any particular reason, not because I don't like it, but just because it's a more prison-y card, and like, I tend to just run other straight removal rather than cards like this, but again, I ran it in this deck because it triggers off of Alela, and it's really good. The next card I have is Imprisoned in the Moon. This is a card that I love. You guys know I've been running this card for a really long time, and I really love it. It's really funny to do someone's commander with this card. Of course, I'm running Intangible Virtue. If you're running Alela, you should be running this card. It's so cheap. Such a great card. Love it. The next card I'm running is Ley Line of Anticipation. Funny story about this card, actually. I changed a couple of cards out before I filmed this deck. I changed cards up the other day, and this was one card that we've actually just had sitting in our collection. We opened this when we opened our Core Set 2020, or Core Set 20, whatever it's called, and I was basically like, I don't have a use for this card. Why don't I run it in something? So I just kind of decided to throw it in this deck, and I think this card's really strong. The next card is Mirror Maid. I love this card. I think this card is so strong and works in a lot of different decks. I like it because it's any artifact or any enchantment, so it doesn't necessarily have to be yours. So if someone has an artifact or enchantment that you like better, you can totally just make it a copy of this, which I really like. Overall, I really like Mirror Maid. I think it works in a lot of different situations because it can be anything. The next card I have is Nevermore. I just think doing this to someone's commander is really hilarious. This kind of just really shuts down a commander and they have to kind of deal with this before they can cast their commander. I like it. I have Oblivion Ring because honestly, if you know anything about me, you know that I love Oblivion Ring and I have a stack of Oblivion Rings, like, you guys can't see my fingers, like this big. It's pretty ridiculous. And then I have Rhystic Study, of course. I kind of actually just had this card laying around not being used in anything, which sounds for a lot of people like it's an auto-include, but I just, like, don't really know. I don't actually know why. I took this out a lot of things, but I think it fits really, really well in this deck. Great, that is all of the enchantments. Moving on to artifacts, I have 17. Now, keep in mind with that number, 17 also includes, this does not include the lands and the creatures that are artifacts as well. So I think I run about 23 to 25 artifacts total, and then enchantments are 14. So basically, that is 4/10 of the deck is artifacts or enchantments, basically, roughly. So first let's talk about my friends, the Signets. I love these cards. Again, I feel like my curve is pretty low in this deck, and this is like something that really helps me to cast basically all the cards that I want. I love the Signets. I've been playing with them for a while, and they're really good, and I'd recommend them in any EDH deck that is 2 or more colors. Chromatic Lantern, of course, again, I run this in 2+ colors. I pretty much like it, though 3, 4, 5 is kind of like where I feel like it really shines, but it's still good in 2-color decks. So yeah, great card. Then I have Dreamstone Hedron. This is one of the most expensive cards in the deck mana-wise, and this is a card that's probably just going to come out for something else that draws cards. Probably this will be a Sphinx's Revelation, actually, is what I really want this to be. I don't know if I mentioned it in the first part. I don't remember if it was in that or the first recording, but I do really want Sphinx's Revelation with this card. Just Pioneer, man, just like jacked up those prices, dude. I'm like a little bummed. Apparently blue-white is like a thing in Pioneer. I don't know. I don't care about any other formats but EDH. So the next card we have is Eldrazi Monument. I really love this card because it gives +1/+1. They already have flying, so whatever. And then they have Indestructible. And then you sack a token, but honestly, sacking one token to give everything that additional buff and Indestructible is better than having that extra token along anyway. And then at minimum, if you have Eldrazi Monument and a Lila on board, they are going to be 3/2s automatically. And then if you have all your other buffs, which this card deck has a lot of Anthem effects, as I'm sure you've noticed. The next card I have is an Expedition Map. I really love the Expedition Map. I try to run this card in all of my decks. It's just really, really good. And then we have Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots, of course. These are mainly, the targets that I use these for mainly are going to be for Alela. I don't really target the tokens very much. It's pretty much just going to be these cards that I use them for, and I really like them both. The next card I have is Perilous Vault. This is my favorite artifact, in case you were not aware. It's my favorite. The next card I have is Skull Clamp. I really love Skull Clamp. It doesn't always work in this deck because sometimes your tokens are actually bigger than whatever their power is. Their toughness might be more than, technically, yeah, it would be more than 1. Sometimes that does happen, and that is kind of a little bit of a bummer when it does, but honestly, it's okay. Sometimes I use this to literally just buff a Lila, and then, but it's good in early stages of the game when I can get it off and draw some cards in the early stages of the game. Actually, I just flung all of my artifacts on the ground, so that was fun. Cool, the next card, and these might have gotten a little bit out of order, but the next card is Traveler's Amulet. I've been playing this card for a really, really long time. I like it. Not a whole lot to say there. Yeah, these are definitely out of order, but I'm not fixing them to be in alphabetical order. Soul Ring, yeah, classic. Spear of Heliod. This is an interesting card. Oh, sorry, let's get that hair out of the way. There's hair, like, everywhere. Spear of Heliod. So it gives the Anthem effect, which I really like, right? And then, you can destroy something. I've played with this card in the past. I've not used this ability, a lot, or if anything, since I've had Alela. But again, I've only had her for a couple of months. But I do think that the ability is strong, and I think that it's relevant, and I do like it. It's just, this card is not, like, the best in terms of, like, this effect, but I do like it for the Anthem effect. Yeah. Then we have Staff of Nin. My friends give me so much flack for this card. They think this card is so bad, and they, like, judge me all the time for it. Again, my curve is pretty low in this deck, so I don't really mind when I have a couple of these higher expensive cards. I just like this card because it draws me extra cards, and it pings something. I feel like this card is almost like, people don't think that it's that good, so they don't remove it, which is fine by me because I'm always drawing extra cards. Like, this is not a good card that it's not a card that if you're playing in a competitive setting where people are trying to infinite kill you, like, if you tap out to do this and then someone kills you, like, obviously it's really, like, bad. But, like, if you're playing in a more, like, relaxed type of setting, like, I think this card is fine, and I do really like it. Then I have Thought Vessel. I love this card. I've talked about this card in my EDH Cards Worth the Money because this card is, like, dumb. Like, it's like $8 or something, like, crazy like that. It's been printed in the Commander decks, so I think that's why this card is a little bit more expensive. But I do really enjoy this card. I think that it is definitely worth the money, and I like that it's a mana acceleration as well, and it doesn't come into the battlefield tapped, which I love. And the last card is Thran Dynamo, just to give me some extra bit of mana. Cool, let's talk about creatures. I only run 14 in this deck, which is very few for me, but obviously the point of the deck isn't really the creatures, it's the tokens that you make with Alela, and these creatures just either enhance that or are just good creatures that I like to run. The first that I run is Baleful Strix. I love Baleful Strix. I've been playing with this card in Tasselier for years, and I love it. This is just a great card. I love that it enters the battlefield, and it's an artifact creature, which is great. Then I run Elshnorn because, you know, buffs. She's the most expensive card in the entire deck, I believe. I'm pretty sure nothing exceeds 7. Oh, there's one other card that exceeds 7 in here, but it's kind of not really 7, and I'll talk about that when we get there. But anyways, yeah, there's not really a whole lot to say. Your team gets bigger, their team gets smaller. Yep, great card. Then I have this card, which I'm actually going to talk about these two cards next to each other. I've been doing that a lot, so let me know if you guys like that, because these cards are very similar. So I have this Eagle, and then I have this Thunderclap card, and they basically both do very, very similar things. So this card's 4 mana, and this card's 3 mana. They both have flying, and they both give your team +1/+1. This one is 3 toughness, and this one is also, so they're both 2/3s. And then this one just has flash. So that's like basically the only difference. I like both. I think they're both good. And I kind of, again, even paying for the 1 extra mana I think is fine, because I feel like if someone goes to attack or blow up the board with, say, just like a minor, like oh, it deals 2 damage to your team or something like that, you can flash this in to give them +1/+1, so they're now 3/3s. Or with Alela, they're 4/3s. So, yeah, I like these cards both. I think they're both really, really good. The next card is Emery. I love Emery. I talked about her in my blue EDH commanders, and I think she's really, really good. She mills. She basically costs 1 mana. She mills, and then she, you can cast an artifact from your graveyard, which is really good. No, this is not a crazy artifact deck in terms of everything is an artifact kind of thing, so you're not getting as much value out of this card as, like, I could if I was running, but, like, the point is artifacts and enchantments, so you're, by nature, going to lose a little bit out on it. With that being said, though, I still think Emery is really, really strong, and I really love her. Then I have Glen Elendra Liege. So basically the tokens with Bitter Blossom do get bit buffed with this because they are black, and then everything else gets +1/+1 because the tokens that you get from Lila are blue. And then if anything is dual colored, which there is nothing in this deck that is dual colored, so that pretty much just only impacts those. It'd be really cool if there was things that were dual colored like this that had the both, because then they would get bigger, but anyways, there is not. This card, with being said, is still really good though, as another anthem. And then I'm going to talk about these cards together because they are basically the same thing, and that is Junk Diver and Mirror Retriever. This card is 1 less mana, but this card has flying, so it's kind of just like, they're both just the same thing, it's just they're a little bit different. I do really like both of these cards. I like them because they enter the battlefield and you get a trigger, and then they die, you get another artifact back, and you get to recast it. This is like basically the only bit of recursion, which is fine by me. That's not the point of the deck. This next card, this is called Leaden or Leaden Mirror. I really love this. I love kind of like, I got this from my friend Travis, and it's just really cool because it's in, I don't know if this is Italian or French. I think it's Italian, I'm pretty sure. Let me know. But this does add black to your pool. It's kind of hard to see, but I really, really love this, and I actually do want to get the other mirrors probably for this deck, since this is only 1 and I can get the other 2. This was just kind of the card that I had and I got, and I just think it's really cool, and I really like these. Then I have Scion of Una. Of course I'm running this card. It's got Flash Flying, Pump Spell, and then other fairies you control Shroud. That doesn't matter, like the Shroud, sorry, and what I mean by that is, like, you don't have anything that targets except for, like, Skull Clamp, I think Skull Clamp is the only thing that I can think of that would impact the fairies. Everything else is static anthem effects, so it doesn't matter. Great card. And it's a fairy too, which triggers with Alela, which is great. Then I have Safara Sky's Blade. This is another card that is an anti-synergy with Scion, but like 2 anti-synergies are fine with me. It's also EDH, like I'm not, you know, and I don't have any tutors in this deck, honestly, like and I'll talk about that at the end of the video. But anyways, you can pay or you can hardcast her. She is the other most expensive card in the deck, but again, that's okay by me because she is really good, because then my entire team gets indestructible. And she's a 7/7 with lifelink, and she counts as a flyer, so she does get the buff with Alela, which is good. And she's got lifelink, which is nice. Then we have Sour of Temptation, and I really love this card. I kind of feel like I've been wanting to play with this card for a really long time, but I never really had anything that it kind of fit in. It doesn't fit in Merfolk. I could put it in Tassiger, but Tassiger's just been refined so much that I just don't really want to put anything else in there to throw it off. Because the deck, like, I could run so many other things in that deck, but I just, like, the deck is great, so I don't really want to tweak it. But anyways, this card's really good, you know, taking control of something, and it's a fairy, which is really good. I just think this card is funny. Like, I really like it, and this card has come significantly down in price, which is great. Then I have Sprite Noble. I like this card. This card is kind of an interesting one because you tap it to give them more power, or you can have the static effect to give them more toughness, which might be relevant, so I do really like it. Yeah, good card. And the last card is Vendiliant Click. I really like this card. You know, it you get to look at their hand, you can have them pitch a card, or honestly, if not, just like getting the chance to have access to information and see their cards is really, really good. Yeah, I like it. So yeah, guys, that is it. That is it for talking about my Lila deck tech. I really hope you enjoyed it. I guess kind of like the other thing I was like wanted to say was just that like I could definitely put more money in the deck, and I could definitely, you know, put tutors in the deck, and put up Mox Opal is something I really want to put in this deck. As well, just to kind of make this deck a little bit better. But honestly, the deck is so good. Like I don't know if I shared this story, but like I basically put this deck together with literally only cards I had, and I bought very, very few cards even so far for the deck. You know, the Bitter Blossom is one of the most expensive cards in here, and it's a gift. I bought not that card. I bought Scion of Una for the deck. I traded for some cards. A lot of these I literally just honestly had, I bought like these cards, but these were each like under $1 a piece foil. So like I had a lot of these cards already left over from other stuff, and I just, cause I had Brea, I don't think I talked about Brea on my channel, but I never filmed a deck tech or anything on her because I took her apart before I had the chance to. So a lot of these were pieces from that. So, and then so I just had a lot of leftover cards, and I just kind of like put this deck together with all of the pieces from that, which was really exciting. So that meant I didn't really have like to put a lot of money in this deck, but I definitely do, because she's definitely a deck. Like sometimes I build a deck and I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it or not. But this deck I definitely am keeping. I really like it. It's different from all of my other decks, which I really like. And because it's got a lot of the artifacts or enchantments, but it's not Voltron, which I really love, because I tried Voltron and I hated it. And I was just like, this is not the deck for me. And I like that it's really different, because I'm trying to kind of do that with my decks. So yeah, guys, I really hope you enjoyed it. The deck will be listed in the number below if you do want to check it out. Thank you so much for hanging out. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.